Oh, hi, everybody. Eddie here. I'm going to take this opportunity to discuss Module 4 highlights. You can look at the details in your learning materials. Just briefly on this one, as this week we just discussed the assessment 3 briefing, and now we discuss the highlight of Module 4. Okay, so there are a few things that we try to cover: the challenges in mature markets, and just before we do that, let's look at the challenges. Let's look at the week 7 materials, which is basically about the growth market. Okay, so that includes the introduction. Like the strategic challenges and opportunities and risks in growth markets, right? And strategies as a market leader, and also frontal, leapfrog, and flanking strategies, and share growth strategies for the followers. Okay, now this is the BCG matrix. I believe everyone is familiar with BCG matrix. That includes market share, market growth rate here. The BCG matrix is developed to help us understanding whether we are competing in the right category or not, whether we are performing well or not in the right category. Okay, so that's basically the major purpose of BCG matrix. Okay, so in that we have 2 components. The first one is actually about the market attractiveness, represented by the market growth rates, and the second one is the market share, which is basically about our performance. Okay, so BCG matrix assumes that that a brand that has high market share would be profitable. Okay, now guys, let me give you a heads up that not necessarily a brand that has high market share would be profitable. Okay, yes, there is a if you have high market share, that means you have high volume. Your operation would be more efficient. Okay, because you have higher power to your suppliers, so you can get a better deal with your suppliers. Okay, but in some instances, a brand may have high market share because they buy, in quote unquote, their market share through investment efforts that is probably not feasible for them. Okay, so that will erode their profitability. Okay, so that's one thing that I'd like to highlight to you. All right, and the other criticism that people give to BCG matrix is about the market growth rates, which is basically oversimplifying the market attractiveness. The industry attractiveness is not only determined by the market growth rate. Well, you can also argue that the market growth rate is quite high. So, does it mean the market is attractive? Well, let's look at the competition. Okay, let's say if you want to enter certain industry, we are an investor, and we have a deep pocket. Okay, and we want to enter a certain market. Okay, a certain industry, and we understand that the market growth rate is quite high, but if the market is so competitive, then it is not easy for us to enter that market. Okay, so the attractiveness of the market would decline. All right, and the other aspect of the industry attractiveness that is not covered in here is the profitability of the industry. Okay, and the profitability of the industry is probably related to the competitiveness of the industry. If the industry is very competitive, people may have price war, and it is hard for us to make profit then. Okay, that may decline the level of attractiveness of this industry, right? So this is the thing that we also need to be careful, right? Now, I'm not going to discuss each quadrant here. You can look at you can go through your reading material, okay? Right, now let's look at the introduction stage of the product life cycle. There are several challenges here, okay? The main challenge is for us how we can get the customers, right? When we just introduce the new product to the market, okay? And The other thing that we also need to consider is how we can retain those that that have become our customers. Okay, so capture new customers and retain the existing customers are the main theme in the introduction stage. Okay, the market leader may use these strategies, may benefit from the low cost production because again, as mentioned to you before, since they are the market leader, they would be able to operate in a more efficient way. Remember, the economies of scale is quite high because of the high volume, okay? And the market leader also has the benefit of the opportunity to expand the product line to appeal to new market segments, okay? From the challenges perspective, okay, it is a different perspective actually because the objective is to expand sales faster than overall growth rate, okay? So how do they do that? They may steal customers, right, from the current players, right? So if you just challenge, if you just come on board, right, becoming the challenger of that industry, so your task is to switch the current users of that product to your brand. Okay, how do you do that? Well, you may offer superior products. You may differentiate it through innovations, line extensions, or better or excel in terms of customer service, or you may undercut the price. If your product is parity, for instance, in terms of level of quality, level of features that you deliver for the customers, then the other option for you is to undercut the price, okay, slash the price. And in some instances, you may have a stronger product, but if the customers can't tell, if the customers can't feel it, then it is challenging for you to communicate it. Okay, and if you can't communicate it, then the customer still perceive, yeah, okay, I understand what you're telling me, but I still say your product is basically at the same level of quality, roughly the same as the other group. Then it is hard for us to compete based on these product features. Okay, so we may consider the other options such as compete through image or price. Okay. The other thing that the challenger may also do is to focus on a niche segment where the market leader has overlooked. Okay, you may look at the a business such as Sensodyne, for instance. They avoid competing with the market leader directly head on. Okay. Right, so that's basically a few things in terms of introduction, okay? The challenges for both market leaders and also the followers, okay? And the followers in the growth market basically are attracted to rapidly growing the market because it is easier to gain market share when the market is growing. And it is more profitable actually if the market is still in growth rate rather than mature mature stage. And the price competition is less likely to be more intense rather than in maturity stage. And early participation in the growth rate is actually a better idea than in the maturity stage. Okay, in the maturity stage, customers have more options. Okay. Right, guys. So that's basically some strategic challenges for the followers in the growth market. Okay. These are the couple of arguments why gaining market share is easier in growth stage. I'm not going to discuss that in more detail, but I think this is pretty straightforward. Now let's look at the next one here. The 5 strategies for market leaders: a fortress or position defense strategy, flanker, confrontation, market expansion, and contraction or withdrawal strategy. Okay, so they are basically the 5 strategies that the market leader can select. The first one is the fortress, and that we are going to discuss here, or the position defense strategy. So here they keep improving what when we say defensive, it's not basically do nothing, right? It's not doing it. It doesn't mean we do nothing as the market leader here. Okay, we keep improving the satisfaction of the current customers, right? So we keep increasing the attractiveness of the offering. Okay, and so we look after the customers, the customer loyalty, the customer satisfaction. That is the main things that we do. This is the main thing that we do when it comes to the defensive strategy. Okay, flanker strategy. It is basically adopted where the leader is weak, okay, to defend against an attack directed at the weakness. So in its current offering, okay, it's exposed flank. Okay, a leader may develop a second brand. So a flanker strategy is basically when we develop a different option, okay, a flanker or a fighting brand, okay. That's what we normally do, okay, to help us blocking the competition or to help us fighting with the competition without jeopardizing the core business, the core brand, okay. Our flankers may also become a large brand, basically a big brand. So it may have the potential to become a big brand as well. And you can look at Toyota and Lexus, for instance. Both are quite strong in the market as well. Okay, right. So this is the first one in terms of flanker strategy, trading up, like Toyota, for instance. They offer Lexus as the second brand that they offer, and trading down, for instance, like Marlboro and L&M to be more affordable, for instance. Okay, you can also look at iPhone 5S and 5C as a flanker brand, for instance. Okay, so they offer these two brand strategies for the customers. Okay, because they want to. Again, they want to preempt as much as they can. They want to preempt the competition to steal the customers from them. Okay. The next one is confrontation strategy, where you are basically, as the market leader, you basically attack head-to-head, or if you're the follower, you basically attack the leader head-to-head. Okay. More commonly reactive, okay. From the leader perspective, they decide to meet or beat the attractive features of the competitor offering, okay. So using creativity technique, for instance, they list down the attributes of the competitor's products, okay. And after that, they offer the improvement of the attributes, okay? Or they may lower the price, as we discussed before. Okay, so that's head-to-head basically. So simply meeting the improved features, right? Keep improving and head-to-head with the market leader. Next one is a confrontation strategy, such as in 1980s IBM and Compaq. Okay, that's basically confrontation strategy that they adopted at the time, and today we also know. Apple and Samsung pretty much in the competition, in the confrontation strategy, fighting head-to-head. If you look at the some consumer electronic categories such as mobile phone and tablet computer, for instance, these two brands, especially in the mobile phone category, are basically rising in the competition. Okay, the next one is market expansion strategy, which is basically more aggressive and proactive version of the flanker strategy. So here, the market leader defends the market share by expanding to new market segment. Now, as the market leader, they have the opportunity to do that because they have the resources. Okay, they have the resources, they have the asset to do so, and they have got the customers base basically to help them expand into the new segments. Okay, and these primary objectives is to capture a large share of the new customer group basically. So that's the main point that they do. Okay, and if you look at in terms of market expansion strategy, if you look at Coke, for instance, you can look at their extensions. Okay. Or now the last strategy is to withdraw. Okay, if you think that the market is not attractive enough for you, you can also think about withdrawing from the competition. Okay. And a lot of big brands such as Samsung, okay, Google, Unilever, Sony, okay, also adopts this withdrawal strategy as well. Okay. And this one here is for the followers share growth strategy, where some competitors try to build a small but profitable business in specialized segments. So we discussed this niche strategy some time ago. I'm not going to discuss this in more detail. So they redefine the market, and they define their own specific market segment to service. Okay. Right, and I think the main point in terms of your strategy is also to decide whom to attack. Okay, whether you want to attack the market leader, okay, attack another follower, okay, or one or more smaller competitors, or avoid a direct attack, flanking, or encirclement strategy. Okay, now. There are a few things as well in terms of frontal attack and the other leapfrog and so on and so forth. Okay, let's have a look at it briefly. Okay? The frontal attack strategy is adequate when the market for a product is relatively homogeneous. A few untapped segments in the market. Okay? So if you find there are some market segments that have not been serviced, then yes, there is a good opportunity for you. Okay? And at least one well-established competitor in there. Why we need that? Because this competitor help us introducing the product to the customers. Okay? Most likely succeed when the most existing customers have strong brand loyalty, so they switch from one brand to the other brand. Okay? So they have that behavior. And the target competitor's products does not benefit from positive network effects, and the challenges, resources, and competencies are greater than the target competitors. So as a competitor, if you have more resources, then yes, that's a perfect strategy for you. A leapfrog is adequate if the challenger can offer a product that is highly differentiated from the competitors' offerings, and the differentiation is actually important for the customers. Okay, the differentiated product is basically a better one. Okay, so that's leapfrog. Okay, when it comes to innovation, as an innovator, we discussed this briefly in the previous module. As an innovator, you are basically offering something better for the customers. When you come up to the market, you actually create what we call as creative destruction. So you destroy the previous practice with a new practice. Okay, so that is adequate for you to leapfrog the competition. Okay, the challenger. If you are a challenger, you can offer a far superior product based on advanced technology or superior design. Okay? So we actually attempt to gain a significant advantage over the existing competition by introducing a new, much better product in the market. Okay, you can consider a mobile phone category, for instance. 20 years ago, who was the market leader and who is the market leader in mobile phone category? Okay, so that's an example actually in terms of leapfrog strategy. Okay, so before we have the Android, iOS, Windows phone. Okay, we had a Symbian system adopted by certain brand, and we know that the Android and iOS actually dominate the industry. Okay. Okay, and flanking and encirclement strategy is another one. So basically, we try to avoid direct confrontations by focusing on certain market segments that have not been satisfied by the existing brand and where no current competitor has a strongly held position. Okay. Flanking strategy appropriate when the market can be broken down to 2 or more large segments. So why large? Because we need to ensure that it is sufficient for us to sustain. Okay, And the leader or major competitors hold strong position in the primary segment, and we still find something that the customers are looking for, and these market leaders have not fulfilled that. Okay, so in other words, there is no existing brand fully satisfy the need of the customers, right? In at least one other segment. Okay. Therefore, as a marketer, actually, your task is to open new opportunities, to identify more marketing opportunities that you can tap. Okay. Encircling is appropriate when the market is fragmented to many different applications or segments or geographical regions with somewhat unique needs or ties. So you adopt that encircle strategy. Okay, so the market is basically fragmented with smaller market segments, and each market segment may have their own dominant player in there. And if you look at the entire industry, each player may only capture small market share as a total. Okay, so a lot of many players in here. Okay, so they involve targeting several smaller untapped or undeveloped segments. Okay, and so the idea is to surround the leader's brand with a variety of offering. Okay. And the last one is the guerrilla attack, which is appropriate when well-established competitors already cover all major segments. So it's hard for us to compete with them. If we do the flanking or encirclement and all our frontal attacks or head-to-head, they are quite impossible for us to do. Therefore, what we do is the guerrilla attack with some tactical promotional activities, for instance, or limited geographical areas to target specific customers, okay, or be creative in running our marketing communication campaign, for instance. Okay, so that's basically the first one in module 4. Okay, now let's briefly look at this second topic in module 4. Okay, here we try to discuss the challenges in mature markets and strategic choices in mature markets, and all customers equally valuable. Okay, especially the first two. Let's have a look at the first two. Okay, remember in mature markets, we actually face a situation. We are actually in a situation where customers have options. Okay, we have a lot of competitors in this industry. Okay, in this market situation. All right, so our growth is flattening because of that. Okay, so we share the pie with competitors, and you find in maturity stage of the product life cycle, the market the market actually contains several established players. Okay, therefore the rate of growth is flattening. Okay, so just a reminder, this is a maturity stage basically. So if you look at that, at the maturity stage, we have our growth rate is flattening. Okay. So what are the major challenges? As we discussed before, we have many players, many competitors in there. Okay, so that has driven the level of competition to be escalating. Okay, Okay, so what do people do? Well, innovations are basically moving from the growth to maturity stage, and actually it is even faster. Okay, so the product life cycle is shortening in this stage. Okay, because all players are basically racing to try to win the competition. Okay, so the challenge is how we can manage our operations profitably whilst the market will the market is growing slowly, very, very slowly. Okay, probably not showing any growth at all. Okay, so that's basically the major challenges in the mature markets. In other words, the volume stabilizes. Okay, and with that situation, the main objective of all players is basically to maintain their market shares whilst defending their profits. Okay, so in other words, they try to hold their existing customers. Okay, retaining the customers. Okay, how do we do that? If we are in the market leadership position, what we do is to develop new uses of the existing product or encourage customers to buy more or buy more frequently. Okay, a toothpaste category used to run a campaign to encourage the customers to use 3 times. Okay. This is a bit some interesting examples of uses for an old product such as WD-40. Okay, water launched in 1953 as water displacement solvents. Okay, and developed 40 trials to get the water displacing formula rights, hence become WD-40. Promote new uses. Okay, and encouraging the customers to buy more often or to buy more when they buy, okay, such as these guys here, okay. And we also have another example here to encourage customers to buy more frequently, okay. Right, now let's briefly look at the declining stage. Okay, what's happening in the declining stage, which is basically this one here is actually the challenges in the declining stage, okay. In the declining stage, the customers basically find another product that can meet their need better. Okay, so they leave the industry. Okay, they leave the industry. As a result, the total industry volume is declining. Okay, now you'll find that several industries are in declining stage. Okay. Well, in developed economies like us, like in Australia, we find that a lot of products have been outdated because customers find new or better product to use. Okay, so what do we have to do in this in the declining stage? Well, the main objectives is actually to make sure that our operations is still profitable. So we want to milk it for profit. Okay, and in doing so, it doesn't mean that we don't do any innovation. We may still do any new product development activities to make sure that the cost of running the product is effective, is efficient for us. Okay, so since the situation is actually declining, what we do is actually try to make sure that we can hold our customers. Okay, so there are a number of things that may happen. If we are in the market leadership position, we can try to differentiate our offering. Okay, and through superior quality, superior service. Okay, or adjust the product quality. Okay, so if you're in the market leadership position, we can decide to stay in the market. Okay, in the declining stage, normally only the top 2 or 3 players maximum survive in the industry because they have the economies of scale. Okay, and the market leaders may do a few initiatives to maintain their customers, right? Like differentiation or giving the service quality, for instance, for the customers. Okay, and they may also beat the competitors' prices. Okay, slash their price, so they can maintain high volume. Okay. And these are basically several other dimensions in terms of service quality. So making sure that our service is still, at the top level and low cost position. Okay. and maximize the customer's lifetime value, such as offering new, making sure that the loyal customers become more profitable. We can also conduct a cross-selling activities or offer the customers to migrate to the other profitable product or offer that as a bundle. Okay. Right, so that's basically the declining stage. What about if we are the challengers? We are not the market leader in the declining stage. Well, it depends. If our volume is so little and the exit strategy is cheaper, then we may exit. We divest the investment. Okay, we sell the equipment, we sell the machinery. Okay, but if it is the only business that we have, then we may have a dogfight. Okay, so we may have the aggressive promotional activities. Okay, all right, guys. So that's basically module 4. And let me know if you need help. Send me an email.